2022 to order. The time is 7 p.m. Shannon, please call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Here.
Mrs. Walker?
Here.
Mr. Post?
Here.
Mr. Fury?
Here.
Mr. Bellin?
Here.
Mrs. Labby? Here.
All right. Shannon, do we have any presentations this evening?
There are none.
All right. Items for discussion. I know at the last meeting, I mentioned we wanted to talk about the Golf Advisory Board. I know, Mr. Bellin, that was something that you and I have discussed, and I believe other members of council, as far as its existence. They don't meet that often. There's really not much that ever comes out of those meetings, so I'm just open to ideas and discussion about whether or not we continue on appointing folks to that board if we're not meeting or not realizing any positive movement out of it. Mr. Fury, go ahead.
So we were going to eliminate this board 6 or 7 years ago.
Okay.
And so it's an unpaid board, but we have had a hard time getting people to show up to it. Right now, we have in place ordinance 31, 2019. Currently, we have, I don't have the roster in front of me, but all the terms were the same date. They all expire on 3/31/24. I know that there's been confusion with the Golf Course Advisory Board was even going to look at whether it's just the golf period. So I'm not sure that we're getting a lot of guidance that we're actually implementing back for the areas that they're allowed to cover. So, and that's just because there's some newer people that know. It's just for me to let you know that's the history. And I'll listen.
Greg, you served on it last year.
Yeah, so I've served on it several years during my time on council. There was an awful lot of interest in the Golf Advisory Board years ago when the clubhouse opened, but that's not really the purpose of that board. The purpose of that board is primarily to talk about golf operations, the operations of the golf course itself, and those kind of things. I think there is, if we are to do away with it, which at this point I would be in favor of, I do think that there are still ample opportunities for the public to give us feedback, give the golf course feedback about the golf course, and they do that on a regular basis. You know, Brian and Jim hear from the golfers daily. You know, condition of the course, you know, the green, you know, this, that, and the other thing. So I don't know that we are eliminating an opportunity for any of the residents to provide feedback, because I don't want to do that. But again, it's to Mr. Barr's point, you know, it meets 3 or 4 times a year. It's an opportunity for Brian and Jim to report on golf course operations, number of rounds, those kind of things. But there's no reason that they couldn't come to a council meeting and do that same thing. So that's kind of the history of it.
Yeah, I mean, they probably do a better job getting a message out, reporting at a council meeting. You know, during a department head report, mayor, sharing that information.
Right.
Because of the venue, I think more people attend and or watch the live streams and YouTube videos and meetings. There's posters, something like that?
Nope.
Oh, I'm just giving that a look.
I just like to look at you, sir.
So I know that Shannon, we started advertising those positions here after the first of the year. So at this point, I guess
There's not going to be anything advertised for the Golf Advisory Board because the terms, am I wrong?
Well, they expire in 2024.
That's
next
what
year.
I said is there's still another 2 years. But there were not,
we wouldn't be advertising.
there's no open positions to advertise this January.
24. My apologies, Mr. Fury. You did say that.
Mr. Vazano, what is the procedure if we would choose to do away with it? What do we need to do? It's not. I know it's not in the charter. So what do we need to do to dissolve that board if we chose to do that?
To dissolve that, we would repeal the ordinance that authorized it, and that would effectively remove.
Okay.
I think it's technically called the Glen Eagles Golf Advisory Board.
Yes.
That would remove that from I think it's in the administrative code. So if you do choose to move forward with that, I would prepare legislation that would repeal the legislation that authorized it.
So I guess just taking a general temperature of members of council, is that something that we would like Mr. I don't want to waste his time. Is that something?
I'd have to defer to your expertise, because I haven't been on probably a year, so I haven't seen the golf course advisory board. I mean, I'm technically on it this year, so I would see it, but I think that I'd have to defer to your
Yeah,
expertise.
and again, I want to be very clear, this is not, if we choose to do this, this is not a reflection on any of the members that served on the Golf Advisory Board over the years. That's not at all. Because when we do have those meetings, they do provide good feedback. Again, I just think there's other opportunities to do that, and I don't think it necessarily requires a board to do it, so.
So, I mean, what I'm hearing, I guess, Mr. Hussein, if that's something you could begin to explore, possibly work with the clerk, and maybe we could take a look at that at the beginning of the year. Any other discussion on that?
Or we could just let the terms run out at the few meetings this year and close it out so that we're not losing anybody. But we could still do the legislation to eliminate it starting in 2024.
Yeah, I'm not opposed to that. I'm not trying to, yeah.
We could have the legislation to repeal it be effective with the conclusion of the current term.
I understand that.
Is that what you're
Yes,
suggesting?
that's what, so, yep.
So why don't we move forward with that, and then we can vote on that. All right. Any other discussion on that? Are there any other items for discussion here this evening before we move on? All right, that brings us to audience participation. Shannon, do we have anyone speaking this evening?
We do. We have Charles McClumphy.
Okay. You just state your name and address, sir?
Charles McClumphy, I'm at 1487 Jennifer Drive in the Lake Platte subdivision. Daisy Walker is our councilperson there, who I have met with on one occasion personally and several occasions on the phone. My concern for the subdivision is the traffic that goes through there is cut-through traffic. Ms. Walker was at my home, and she witnessed some of it. We didn't have a lot of traffic that evening. The traffic is mostly in the mornings between the hours of 6:30 and 8:30. And it's people that are cutting through from Chamberlain Road to Shepherd Road. They can access that by coming down Chamberlain, going up going up Andrew to Jennifer, turning left on Jennifer and going up to Shepherd. Likewise, coming the other way, the same thing. Now we have a new street that went through, which is Andrew Drive, which now comes out on Shepherd Road. That's the new access. They come down Shepherd, or they come down Andrew, they go to I got the street here, hold on.
It's all right.
They come to Bridget, they come down Bridget from Shepherd, and they turn left at, they would turn left at Andrew, and then go out on Chamberlain, okay? The speeding, when they come off of Shepherd and down my street, accelerates to a turn in the road. There's a turn in the road there where Bridget lets back out onto Jennifer. There's no stop sign there. So they fly downhill to that turn, make the turn, make the bend, and then go down another and come to Andrew. There's no stop sign there at that juncture where Bridget comes to Jennifer Drive. It's also a bus stop in the mornings for the school children, which leads to another point with the buses. They're not adhering to a safe speed limit. Just coming home this evening, on my way home, the bus was coming down and dropping kids off. And they make that turn off of Shepherd Road, and they come down the street, and it's accelerate. It seems like they have to get there in a hurry. I went through this transition a while ago. I've lived there for 20 years on that street. I've gone through that when my kids were little. I will just tell you honestly, I would stand out there with tennis balls and throw tennis balls in the street when the cars were coming up the street, just to slow them down. Fortunately, nobody ever got mad at me for that, but they did slow down when they saw the tennis balls. So if I'm at risk for that, let me know. Anyway, that's the concern. And with the new street that came through now, with Andrew coming through there, it's the same thing. It's all downhill into the subdivision and out. We need stop signs on Jennifer Drive. We need signs that flash like they have on Shepherd Road and on other streets in Walton Hills. We need those flashing signs that say the speed limit's 25 and a little white light that blinks when they're over 25. We need that for everyone that comes down there, including residents. I've stopped residents, gone to their home, got them coming out of their car and said, hey, you live here. There's other kids that live here. We need some safety there. The police presence is, I don't know, I'm not home during the day. Maybe it's there during the day. The last time I saw a police car there was Sunday evening. It was coming down the street, and one of the reasons was because at that time, Santa Claus was delivering his gifts. So there was a contingent of the Santa people and the fire trucks that were coming down the road, which was good to see. That just lets you know that there's a lot of kids in this subdivision. There's kids that play out there. Just coming here tonight, I finally saw that one of the residents put up a sign that said children at play at the little playground that's in the subdivision. It's dangerous. There's actually dangerous curves, and people park on those curves, and there should be parking signs that say don't park on the curve. Because if people are coming down the street and you're coming in off of Chamberlain, coming up Andrew, it sometimes is a mess. So I would like to see something happen in the way of safety for that subdivision and for the new children. Just in the little strip of street that I'm on right now, there's at least 7 kids that are under the age of 8 years old. So new people are moving into the subdivision as we age and move out to the smaller homes. So I don't know. Miss Walker had told me that she talked to the police department about it. They were supposed to be out there today with a flashing sign. Nobody showed up, Daisy. Nobody showed up.
Time.
Okay. You had told me that you talked to the police on a couple of occasions. I never got a call. I gave you my address, I gave you my phone number, never got a call. I don't know if you talked to Mr. Scafidi about it or not, but...
Not currently, but
okay.
I talked to the mayor
right.
about 2 weeks ago.
Well, anyway, I did go to Daisy and ask her to assist in this, and frankly, I don't know why I'm here, but I'm here because nothing's happened yet. I would like something to happen.
Sure, well, I do appreciate you taking the time to come up here and voice your concerns, I do. Mayor, did you have something?
Yes, Scott, if I may, if you would hang out after this meeting, before the council meeting, Mr. McLumphy, give me your name, your number, and your address, or at least your number. I have your name, your number, and address, and we'll address this, and we'll talk to the police chief, and maybe we can all sit down with Mrs. Walker, you, me, and the chief, and we'll discuss what the plan's going to be. But if you're unavailable, we will definitely talk with him, and we'll make up a plan, and we'll let you know.
Mr. Fury?
Thought that stop signs went through engineering. I know that we have to have, there's rules on what we have to do for a light.
You can't use them to control speed. That's the problem.
Okay.
Well, excuse me, may I interrupt?
Sure.
Please? The same thing happened on Laurel Drive, which is in Macedonia. They had the same situation, because that Laurel Drive was a cut-through, and it's a straighter cut-through. They put stop signs up exactly where I would propose for our stop signs to go on their street. So evidently, their ordinances are different than ours.
No, it's
a
not.
state warrant traffic manual, Mayor, if I may, as somebody that was a police officer for 10 years. I mean, I'm more than happy to have engineering take a look at this with the mayor. I think certainly it's something we can discuss at the next public safety meeting.
And is Ms. Moore the engineering person?
Yes.
Okay, well, I talked to her about 10 years ago, and she said it can't happen. That's what she told me then. I dropped it then.
I think
Went
it's
back to my
certainly
tennis
worth
ball.
revisiting.
One more thing, if I may
Yes.
add, that, those stop signs that are there for speed, they have no enforcement on that. So if somebody does go through the stop sign, that's the problem with that. When you put up a stop sign that's just for speed and not warranted, like Mr. Barr said, there's no authority to ticket anybody that goes through those signs. Or
Okay, but
they
it-
can
but it would
ticket
be a
them,
deterrent.
but it could be challenged. Yeah, it could be challenged.
You know,
Well, we'll talk about it. We'll talk about it.
okay.
Okay?
Yeah,
I just,
go ahead, Dave.
I just want to tell you that I did talk to the police department last week. It was 2 or 3 times. They said that they would be out before Tuesday. which
Okay,
is
well,
today.
today's, I know, they
And
weren't out.
And then they told me, you don't have to call me anymore. We already have it written down. So I was gonna give them until this Tuesday. Tomorrow, I was gonna ride down and see if they put anything up, because they told me they have it, don't call, they're going to do it. And
Shannon, is this something we
I'm working
could
on
put on the agenda for the next public safety meeting also? To have Amy and Mr. Chief Mason available? I think we could.
Is that an open meeting?
Absolutely, every meeting we have is open, sir.
Okay.
And I'm sure Shannon can give you the dates on our next public safety meeting. It would be nice to have you there.
Thank you.
All right. Anything else we can do for you tonight, sir?
Lower taxes.
That's a conversation for another day. Thank you, sir, for your time.
Thank you so much, thank you.
Not the third lowest.
Shannon, do we have anyone else this evening?
We do not.
All right. Thank you again, sir. All right, that moves us on to pending legislation. We do have several pieces this evening. The first being Ordinance 91, 2022, which we all know and love at this point. This is the ordinance for the dedication of Whispering Woods Phase 3. I spoke with Mr. Vizana earlier. We are going to just be reading this again this evening, and we'll go from there. Ordinance 98, 2022 is our temporary appropriations ordinance for 2023. The total amount being appropriated is $45,981,914.61. This will be on its third and final reading. We're requesting to pass this on an emergency this evening so that we can get it to the Summit County Fiscal Office and in effect prior to the end of the year. So that we will be asking to get that done tonight as an emergency. Ordinance 99, 2022 is an ordinance to amend Chapter 925.02 regarding parks and recreation fees. This is also on its third reading. We are going to ask the same request to pass it on an emergency so we can get those fee increases in effect before January 1st as well. Ordinance 102, 2022 is an ordinance to fulfill Charter Section 7.06, which states the appointment of a law director shall be made within 60 days of the commencement of the mayor's term. Mayor Scafidi will be appointing Matt Vizana to the position, and council will be confirming this by passing this ordinance tonight with our fingers crossed. So, hopefully. All right. Ordinance 103, 2022. This ordinance is to fulfill Charter Section 7.02, which states similar appointment of a finance director shall be made within 60 days of commencement of the mayor's term. Mayor Scafidi will be appointing Sarah Butchiegross to the position. Council shall be confirming this by passing the ordinance this evening. All right, fingers crossed, I like it. Ordinance 104, 2022. This is an ordinance to amend the petty cash funds. Changes include removing Aaron and Moses along with the banquet line item, increasing the amounts for finance from $500 to $1,000, and the golf course from $1,500 to $2,000. Adjustments are being made after the Finance Department completed an audit of petty cash amounts throughout the city. That was completed August 1st of this year. We're asking to suspend the 3 reading rule so that we can get this passed on an emergency this evening and get it in place by the end of the year. So just some annual housekeeping items. Ordinance 105, 2022. This is an ordinance to do our annual review of the salary ordinance. Updates requested allow the city to give annual adjustments to our non-bargaining employees, as well as align the ordinance with the 2022-2023 pay rates. We are asking to suspend the 3 reading rule and pass this on an emergency, so again, we can get the pay rates in effect for January 1.
Yes,
Mr. Post.
So when I was going through it, I noticed that under the JEDI committee, it was $25 per meeting. Hasn't there been conversation about which JEDI meetings potentially would be paid, which ones might not? Or is that,
Yes.
so
That's
that,
not an issue anymore
Yes.
because the subcommittees are meeting the same night as the regular meeting, and we pay for the regular meeting of the subcommittee meetings.
okay.
So it's a non-issue at this time, to the best of my knowledge.
Correct.
No,
As far as I
it
understand
seems
it.
to be.
Okay,
That's correct as far as I understand it as well.
okay.
Sarah,
I just-
you
I just-
shaking your head over there? Okay.
Okay, perfect, that's all I have, thank you.
I appreciate the clarification, Mr.
Yep.
Post. Okay, that was 105-2022. Resolution 106-2022 is an ordinance to appoint, actually is a resolution to appoint a replacement to the Ward 1 council vacancy that was created by Mr. Scafidi being elected to mayor. Council is required per Charter Section 3.06 to fill such vacancy within 30 days of the resignation of a council member. After the election, council advertised and accepted applications of residents for the Ward 1 position for 30 days. And interviews were held last evening with each of the applicants. We have, every time we advertise for any boards, commissions, vacancies, I am truly astonished at the quality of candidates that we receive. I think that it is really telling how many folks want to be involved in the community and how many folks want to be involved in the community that are extremely bright and well-spoken and highly educated. I want to thank everybody that applied. We will be this evening appointing Mr. Deeds to the position. He's in attendance here this evening. And he will be completing the balance of Mr. Scafidi's term, which concludes on the 30th of November, 23. So, does anyone else have anything they'd like to say? Because again, last night was a very difficult decision to make. I know for me and other members of council. I don't want to speak for anybody, but again, we had just truly wonderful applicants for that position. Mr. Fury?
Mr. Van Zandt, we would have to make a motion to add Mr. Deeds' name to this. So we read this, make a motion to add his name, approve the motion, and then vote on the amended resolution.
Yes.
Thank you.
All right, so we'll do that during the regular council meeting.
Yes,
We'll
it has
just
to be during the
amend
res-
the resolution to include the name of Mr. Deeds. Okay.
Thank you.
All right. That's it for legislation. Moving on, miscellaneous. Council, does anyone have anything under miscellaneous they'd like to discuss during caucus?
Yeah, I guess I would. I don't know if this is the right time to do it, but I see that we have the 2023 bid list there. I wanted to ask about, I don't know if it's come up in the past, about a sidewalk along Liberty Road. Has that ever come up?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this was before my time. So, you know, I know there's a lot of residents up and down Liberty Road. We have the parks there. I was just curious what it would take to, not even a concrete, we could do like Solon has that blacktop. I'm just curious if there's any issues with that or.
From Post Road to Liberty, there was an asphalt ground trail that was about 7 or 8 feet wide that was the vehicle to get from Post Road to Liberty Park. So yes, that's it has been looked into. We did look at a sidewalk. It was several $1 million at one point. So anyway, I'm just saying that there was an improved path that was used as the vehicle for people to use. And I don't know the condition of that path today. I don't walk from Post
So the path
to.
is there?
Yes, it's on the
It's not in
parks.
great shape.
It's on the park side of the property, and there's a
Doesn't it
bridge.
stop? I know the bridge and I know the path, but doesn't it stop?
Okay, I'm just saying at one point to fix that area,
Okay.
to fill that need, there was a path that was put in on the other side
For the asphalt on the
that
park
probably
side.
needs some work, but and we did look at that because we don't own the property all the way up. You got 3 township things going, and there's so.
I guess I'd love to have a conversation about maybe completing it so it goes down so all the people can get to the park maybe from at least have a conversation at some point, you know, because, you just said-
I said, yeah, that's not a problem.
yeah, because, you know, other people come from post, whatever, they just can't get to the park.
Sure, they can go.
Can they get all the way through? I don't think-
Yeah, you can go all the way through. You can go.
Get through Ethan's.
Yeah, you go up Bronson.
Oh, but not on, right.
Yeah, you gotta go through
You
the
gotta,
neighborhood.
you gotta go through the
It's
neighborhoods.
doable, but
Yeah, yeah,
it's,
I see
you're,
what you're
it's
saying.
going all the way around.
Okay, I thought you were saying on Liberty. I'm like,
No.
No,
I don't
no.
think so. Okay, just conversation I'd like to.
Yeah, no, I think it's a
explore.
great, I think it's a great
Okay.
infrastructure project for sure. Any other miscellaneous items this evening? All right, hearing none. I'd like to make a motion to adjourn the caucus meeting at 7:25 PM.
Second.
All right, Shannon, call the roll.
Mr. Barr?
Yes?
Mr. Fury?
Yes.
Mrs. Walker?
Yes.
Mr. Post?
Yes.
Mrs. Labby?
Yes.
Mr. Bellin?
Yes.
All right, we're adjourned.